Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio. I'm your host for tonight, AK, and tonight I've been joined by Rob and the legend that is Bridgeman. How you doing, boys?
Evening, AK. Evening, Bridge. Good to be on with yourselves, and we'll try and be as positive as we can.
Good evening, AK, and yourself, Robert, and of course the techie boys in the background. And to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
Aye, good lads. Thanks for joining us. You get your hard hat on, boys, because this could be a rocky road. Rob, what do you think then for the weekend, pal?
Hugely disappointing, mate. Hugely disappointing. I know we shouldn't look at other results, but when your rivals and the other two team above you drop points, you've got to capitalise. The focus is obviously on ourselves first and foremost, and we done nothing, mate, at the weekend to merit any sort of positivity, in my opinion. Very flat performance, very weak, and a lack of desire and hunger again in the players, particularly when the result the day before kind of went in our favour a bit. Just hugely disappointing. And the way we kind of ended the international break, we felt a bit more optimistic that there was a identity, there was a wee bit of progress moving forward in some aspects. And now we sit here again tonight, back to square one of where do we go from here, how do we improve, and what's the next game going to be like. And that's obviously Thursday night in a European tie.
Aye, I think you sum it up pretty well there, Rob. To be fair, mate, it was a pretty average performance at best. Very substandard and very disappointing. Bridgeman, it's Rob said there, when we're seeing Aberdeen and Celtic dropping points here at the weekend, we've got a chance to go within 3 points of them, and then we turn in a performance like that. Very substandard. All the adjectives we've spoke about already, but it's nothing we've not seen before, and it's disappointing to say the least, Bridge.
Yeah, of course, and there's nobody more disappointed than them, probably. But the truth of the matter is, we're playing a really, really key game on a strange pitch for a number of our players. They've never played in Kilmarnock's ground. This is their first season with us. So it's quite difficult for these guys. But the truth of the matter is, it looked as if we weren't a team. That's what it looked like. Or if we were a team, we were a bad team, poor team. I just think we weren't there. We weren't there in mind and soul. I think to myself, we've got a centre forward there, a guy that's playing centre forward, and he's got a reputation for sneaking goals. Never looked anywhere near the ball. And I don't even know how many times he kicked the ball, but it was very few. Or touched the ball, should I say? It was very few. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And that was it. When you've got a person that's a man that's carrying you up front, and they can't do it, even when he gets a good pass or the passes are coming towards him, and they can't do it. I'm sorry. Admittedly, he never got too much of the ball at the weekend there, and he was probably marshalled off his positions and so on and so forth. I just think it was one of the most dreadful games I've seen a centre forward playing in a Rangers jersey. Really, really poor. There are a number of other players who weren't that great, but when you've got the centre forward no right and your midfield trying to stray passes about that they're falling short quite a lot, difficult, very, very difficult. And I don't even want to start talking about the centre halves. I'm sorry. I don't want to start talking about them. Doing my head in. So I think that we were... Sorry?
I was just going to say, well, this is a, a talk show, so we need you to say something about
Yeah, I'm saying that the centre halves. I think I said that I gave them compliments the week before the last game. Thought they had a good partnership, or it's looked like a good partnership. But they had one centre forward up there. I can't remember the chap's name. Maybe somebody can remind me what his name is. Big tall fella, but he ragdolled day two. He ragdolled them, and particularly for that goal. I mean, Suter's a lumpy guy as well. How on earth can Suter be pushed off the ball in his own box? I'm sorry, just nonsense, just utter nonsense. Very, very poor from a central defensive perspective. And your fullbacks, well, Jeffy hardly kicked the ball. They both get bouncing up. Sorry.
I was going to say, listen, we've got all night. We've got 2 hours.
All right, carry on, pal. Sorry, apologies.
But I think there's a lot of frustrated, angry bears out there. So I think we'll get the phone lines open early. The guys did well last night with callers, so it's a phone-in show. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, give us a call. Give us your thoughts and what happened at the weekend. Where the future lies. What's Clermont's future now? Where do we go? How do we sort this mess that we're in, Rob? It's boardroom level, I would say. Leaderless up in the boardroom level. We certainly look leaderless on the park, and there's big question marks over the future of the manager now. There's a lot of supporters, but I'm no daft, I'm not silly. I heard the show last night, I read a lot of Rangers platforms. I would say they're probably about 99% of Rangers supporters now. That's enough for Clermont. Myself personally, no quite there yet, but he's on the edge of a cliff for me now. It's one of them. But the problem is though, Rob, it's the financial stuff that's the implications that carry on with that. It's been hurting the club too much, and I think that's contributed to where we are on the park, off the park, the managerial changes. You know, Tavernier as captain came in. This is his 10th year. Now he's had 7 years in 10 years. We've had 19 managers in an entire history up until the last 10 years. So it's obvious that we're still not getting things right off the park, on the park, selection of managers. Rob, and then Bridge.
It's a worrying stat, mate, when you say that he's had so many managers in that sort of space of 10 years. And 10 years is a short time, but a long time in football. And the journey that us as supporters have been on, that Tavernier's been on, through the Championship, back to the Premier League, Scottish Cup runs, European runs, a league title, they're all factors. But overall, mate, you're spot on when you say there's been far too much change and not enough progress. And for me, that's a worrying aspect. Yes, change things, but as long as progress is made, and we're going backwards, AK, we are going so far back that we're now comparing Clermont's team to a Michael Beale side. Now, I'm not saying that Clermont's had the greatest of hand to turn in, to walk into. The hand he was dealt with was really poor. It was left in a mess. There was money flung at signings that were done under a lack of leadership and stewardship of no director of football. The money was given to Michael Beale, who was not an established manager, and Clermont's had to come in, and we've had a massive overhaul in the summer. And I know people will say these players should be clicked by now. Aberdeen, similar overhaul, above us in the league. Rangers, we're looking desperate at times, AK. Something needs to change, and it filters from the top all the way down to the bottom. And at the bottom right now is our club. Our players look dejected, they look disinterested, and you've got the off-field issues as well. And it's going to come to a point where it will be, is this Clermont's last game? But as you said, financial implications. Reports to me are saying £10 million to sack him and his backroom staff because of that 3-year contract they signed, which to me at the time was based on absolute nothing. Quite bizarre from the club's point of view. But that's where it lies. If we pay that money out, one, where does it come from? Two, who do we go and get? Because if you're going for a manager who's in a job, you have to pay the compensation. There's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes, and at the end of it all, there's still no answers, mate.
Yeah. Aye, good points, Rob. Listen, Bridge, we've been joined by a caller. Carol here, I'll come back to you after, Carol. Good evening,
no problem,
Carol.
pal. No problem.
Hello. Hello,
Good evening,
AK. Aye, good evening,
evening.
AK. I need to ask you to do me a favour. You know
What's
Si
that?
Leslie, didn't you?
Aye.
Rangers TV.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to go on his
Yeah.
show tonight. I know you've been on it before, but I was on it before and all. I'm a TV star. I tried to go on it. I can't find his number, his private number. Can you text him that I've left a bottle of Scotch in the Bristol bar for him last Thursday? He's meant to pick it up.
No bother. I'll pass that message on for you, pal.
Right, thanks a lot, Alex.
Anyway, what's your thoughts for tonight?
For tonight, Mark, my thoughts are always the same. I'm sitting in the house myself, so I've got all the time in the world. I hear some of my fantasies. I dreamed Rangers passed the ball through the middle. I didn't get that straight to the keeper on the other side, you know.
I heard you
There
last.
was nothing.
What thoughts
There's
about
nothing
your
that
wife?
Rangers will do. What?
I heard you say she's in hospital. I hope she's all right.
She's a bit disappointed with me, you know, for not going to visit on Sunday, watching the game, you know. But that's normal for me. I missed the birth of my Waynes because the Rangers. Nothing's going to stop me if I've got a chance to see the Gers, even though I can't get to a game anymore with where I am, you know, the way it is with stairs and things like that. So I'm watching the telly down here, sitting here screaming ball, and about 2 hours before you come on, I put on my sectarian bile, shall I say, and have a wee sing song to myself. Remember the good old days when you're allowed to do that. You know, my neighbours, my neighbours love me.
No, I don't know if you caught anything what Rob said there about the
No, I was
at the point.
About you can't get rid of the manager because of the money. Aye.
Where do you stand on that?
I don't know. Alex, it's like everything else. I mean, we can't spend 10 million on a player. How are you going to spend it? And the other thing I don't understand, we've got to let them bring in their backroom staff. Well, his backroom staff aren't doing much. Maybe he should pay them out of his pocket, performance-wise, because we're not performing. What's Alex Reedy in there?
Bridge, man, it wasn't a great move for the board, was it? Giving him that year's extension. I mean, personally, I can kind of half understand it. I think they gave him that year's extension of the contract because I think the goalposts have moved. See for what they sold the club to come on as, and they maybe promised them certain transfer funds, which wasn't there because it was loans that he brought in January. I think he's like, you sold me this club, and the terms and conditions of the club has totally changed from where they were when you got me in the job. I think that was just maybe a wee kind of apology, if you want, after the board and admitting that, we're in a worse state than what we sold you as a club. Would he have touched the club at that point in time? Probably no. But you know what? Rather than walk away, as a lot of supporters wanted to do now, he accepted the challenge, Bridgeman. So, where do you stand on that? What's your thoughts?
Well, you know.
Right. Where I stand in that?
No, that's the Bridgeman, and then you can come in.
Okay,
right.
Sorry.
Thanks, Mark.
It's really difficult, and I agree with some of the things that you come out with there. It's unfortunately the manager is in a really bad position at the moment. From a club managerial perspective, he's probably about second in line because there isn't not very many guys above him in senior positions. I don't quite understand why he sees things in the players that they're just not there. So he's living in hope. So I think that's what he's doing. He's living in hope. And I'm afraid it's all going to come crashing down quite quickly. If we, for instance, on Thursday, if we go out there and we win, then it's going to be great. He's going to be the greatest manager ever, to some people, coming back for a terrible defeat on the Sunday, and all of a sudden you get a really good win in the European Europa League, rather. I don't know if that will happen. Of course, I hope it happens. But if we don't, my goodness gracious, it's just going to get darker and darker for him. Darker and darker. He'll drive himself nuts, and he'll eventually leave. And I don't know whether the club will put pressure on him, the fans will put pressure on him, or altogether the pressure will just get too much for the guy. I know he's an experienced man, but he can look out onto a pitch full of players who are not performing. And I mean that in the nicest way. They are not performing. Nowhere near. You've got some guys there that are international players, and they don't look anything like international players. Some of them look like junior players. With the greatest respect to them, they actually look like junior players. And we know, before, if they played to it with us before, they've not been that bad. But my God, right at this moment in time, the whole squad are just terrible at the moment. And it's frightening. It's frightening.
Aye, I agree with you, Bridge. Cal, the pressure, the expectation of wearing their shirt wears heavy, and a lot of players. I think there's a good bit of that's happening with the team. What do you think?
I think exactly that. I think we as a support put a lot of pressure on the team. We can't stand any single bad pass or anything. We really can't. We're hypercritical at times, but we're not being hypercritical with this team because it's a bunch of non-triers. I feel a wee bit sorry for Barton. A wee bit, not much. But see, part of the problem now. I mean, you can't say he's not when he's playing in that team. He's trying, but nothing's coming up. I don't think he's a forward-gone player. I don't think he's anybody that would spray boys about all over the place. I don't think he's one of them. He's doing a hard job. Another one we need support, But every time we just seem to be playing at the back, and it's boring. It's boring.
I agree with that.
Alex, I didn't think he got that year's contract because of the promise of money. I think he got it because he says, well, he done quite well with them last year. We'll extend it to take out that 8 or 9 months, when he came in up to the end of the season. I think that's the reason he got it. That's my opinion, to draw up to a level time.
You might be right there, Cal, but he already had a 4-year contract as it was, so he's got another 3 years to see the job. It's just that.
Oh no, he's got burned 3 years in. He's got 4 years if they give him an extra year.
Aye, that's what I mean, though. That's him done a year.
Oh, that's too much. That is too much.
Aye, Rob, there's a lot of
that's
people.
no business. That's bad business. I mean, with a manager coming in, his first time in, it should be maybe 2 seasons, because 4 years, you can't 4 years, another 4 years we'll be playing in the 3rd division. Let us.
Well, I certainly hope no, Rob, but it was just a wee bit of head scratcher, and there's a lot of support wondering, is this another boardroom, decision that's went bad? Because it's costing us effectively another year's salary, another $2.5 million, giving the guy rewarding failure. I've heard a lot of people say he won his League Cup, his first attempt. Obviously, we blew the league, and for me, I thought we got cheated out of the Scottish Cup. But he wins 1 trophy in his first year, and then he's getting another year, Rob.
It doesn't seem a lot, mate, at all. If you're basing, obviously it was a year in the job, only a week ago or so, 10 days. And we look at the stats, and stats can mean anything, mate. But you've got to be winning games. You've got to be winning trophies. You've got to be competing. As you said, we had that league. That was ours to go and wrap up, and we absolutely bottled it. And that's where it lies with the manager about decisions, tactics, man management. yes, the players have to do the job on the park once they cross that white line, but the manager's going to be the first one that gets looked at, and then it's your captain. And we've sat here before in similar circumstances or worse circumstances, and it just looks like we're in the same revolving door. And the boardroom decisions that are getting made, they're not getting made with the interest of our club. They're getting made financially and business. Nothing to do about our club is at the heart of these decisions. And that's what worries me. If the board just now, we don't have a director of football, we don't have a CEO, and we've got an interim chairman. Who sacks the manager and who brings somebody in? Because if that decision lies with who's there just now, I'm worried of who comes in, because I can't think of anybody at the top of my head who can come in and do a better job or steady the ship or rejuvenate their squad and get us back on board and have a bit of belief about it. Because already in the early stage of the season, it's late October, we're looking at it going, we've got a battle for second, never mind a title race. And that's a worrying factor for me, AK.
Good points. Cal, would you make it up?
Well, let me say something else. Van Bronckhorst came in, got a modicum of success. We get into European Cup, Europa Cup, Europa League final, the Scottish Cup with Gerrard's team. Beale came in, was in the semi-final of the League Cup. Clement came in and got the final. That's on Beale's watch as far as I'm concerned, right? This is all now is Clement. You know what I mean?
Clement came in for the semi-final.
That's what I said.
We played
They
Hearts
were already in the semi-final when Clement came in.
Right.
So that's on Beale's watch, actually. That's how I can say. The same as Giovanni Van Bronckhorst came in with Gerrard's players at peak fitness.
Yeah,
and it's went downhill for there.
Aye.
I don't see fitness. I mean, I don't even play walking football, but near the Rangers.
Yeah.
They're pretty poor, aren't they?
Right, I better go now, because my nose is bloody spewing blood up here. I've got a basin out. So, right. I had to walk when I tried to get in the door. Right, thanks for doing that for us, Alex. Bye, lads.
Yep.
Have a nice evening. I'm still going to listen to you. I'll take it off mute now, okay? Bye.
I'll put a message on to Si for you. Thanks for your call,
That's
Si.
great. Aye. AKP, thanks a lot.
Cheers, pal. Bridgeman. Where do we go for here?
Well, I think we've hinted, if some of us have not actually said it outright. I don't really know what's going to happen, and some Rob says a really good question, like if we don't have MD at the top to make the decision as to whether this manager leaves. If he wants to leave, then he wants to leave. I think it would be beneficial for the club if he did leave, because of the situation. We're going nowhere. He's taking us nowhere, and I really don't know if it's going to help us if he leaves. But he can't stay the way things are. Now it might be that the players aren't playing for him, and it's as simple as that. And we have to hold our hands up and say these guys ain't doing it. They can play football, but they ain't doing it for some reason. And this might be the second manager some of these players have got on the sack. So that might be as deep rooted as that. But he's a manager. We've got to believe in it when he's there. We've got to, but we can't. I can't believe in him. Not the way things are. He needs to come out and win 5 games in a row before the Bears will start taking note of him again. It's just that, in my opinion, what's happening is the supporters sitting here and they're just waiting on Goddo. That's what they're waiting on, Goddo. So just waiting on somebody saying, by the way, this is not good enough, you have to go. That's what they're waiting on. I don't know what everybody else in the panel thinks, but I would imagine I can't be far away.
Oh, listen, I think everybody's on the brink. You're kicking them over the cliff edge. I think there's a right few out there that's already done that. Smurf has joined us tonight. What's your thoughts?
I'd be one of the few that would disagree with that. I think the investors, if you like, the sort of major shareholders, I believe they've got us into this mess, and I believe it's their responsibility to get us out of it. They need to appoint a CEO, a director of football, and a permanent chairman before you can even begin to think about the manager, etc., etc. It's not fair. There's no way, you know, the amount of people that left the club at the end of last year, the turmoil, the turnover, trying to get the wage bill down, all these things that needed to be addressed, the stadium debacle, etc., etc., etc. We're 6 points behind. We're 6 points behind. There's eight games played. There's 30 games to play. I think he's made mistakes. I think we saw some blue shoots. It's a work in progress. And I just think that if we address the stability off the park, we can get through relatively unscathed without dropping any more points, at least until the next Old Firm game, and we get a January transfer window and we get it right. I think we've got there's no value in him not taking us to the end of the season. And the last thing you need is to, what if Coppin and wraps it as well. There's got to be some sort of continuity. And at the moment, the manager and Niels Coppin are that continuity. So I think we need to throw our shoulder under them and get behind them. The last thing we need is that man walking away. Where would we be then? Honestly, really, thinking about it, take the emotion out of it. Where would we be then? And it's all right saying, well, look at Aberdeen. They had a guy that came in and all the rest, and they had a turn. Aberdeen play for third place every season. That's the limit of their ambition. Get a place in Europe, try and get third, and hopefully get a cup run, maybe get a final. I mean, that's the level of pressure their manager's under. I mean, that's a free hit. That's a free hit that's a freebie. Nah, not a chance. I think we're lucky that the man's not walked away, let alone sack him. I think people should mark that well. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
Aye, well, it's contentious. It's listen, I'm kind of in your camp, a foot in both camps, so to speak. I'm more in your camp than Ausmouth, because I can see the constraints that he's had to work under. He's had money, definitely. Has it been good recruitment so far? That's contentious. But as you say, he's reduced the wage bill. I'm hearing by 20%. He's brought down the age of the squad by 5 years. He's knowed a lot to work on. He had to move a lot of players out before he could get any players in. A lot of players were digging their heels. He didn't really get the targets that he was looking for. Coppin was interviewed there during the week, and he actually said that both him and Clement spoke to 62 players during the close season, Rob. Obviously, we only got 12 of them to agree terms. We spoke to Sima as well. He said that he was paying more than what we were willing to pay for Cortes to come in, but Sima's personal requirements for wages and length of contract and whatever else demands he was looking for, Rob, it wasn't agreeable for the terms of it we were looking for to carry forward, because obviously the financial fair play is a big thing. Whether people think it's a lot of rubbish, whether we're talking a lot of rubbish on it, that's a fact. Oxshire, Southside spoke about it again last night. We've got to do everything within our turnover, and that's where we are as a club. There's been mismanagement of finances, poor recruitment, poor choices of managers, and trusting the wrong people, Rob. I think Smurf's right. I think the positions of CEO director of football, academy director, our chairman, everything's got to be bang on. Now, it's got to be bang on in the boardroom now, Rob, I think, before we can even look at the manager's position. So we'll need to ride it out, whether we like it or no. Time for calm heads, Rob. Your thoughts?
Where I do agree, mate, is the stability. I think that is the forefront of all supporters. Now, you can say that stability comes from the manager, or you can say stability comes from the club level at Boardroom. The fact that we have not appointed, or from what I've heard, not been anywhere near naming any successor to a CEO or a chairman, I'd be bemused if we did not look at potential successors before the announcements of Bisgrove. I know John Bennett was quite sudden, and that these things can happen. And again, we wish him the best of health. Do you know what I mean? He's had to leave because of ill health. We don't wish that upon any member of the club, and we wish him well. If Bisgrove had gave intention that he was leaving, I would have wished and hoped that there would have been a plan in place before then to start that ball rolling. The statement that came out looked like it was, I'm leaving, go and find somebody. And then the process started. Again, that comes down to the stability and the knowledge of the board level. If you have CEOs in place and you have the chairman, there's a stability there. They then sit down and go, where's the vision that they want? Is that with Clement? Is it not? As you say, finance restrictions, not just on players, but also on the management side. £10 million to replace a manager and a backroom staff. We can't do that in a player. We can't do it in a manager. I don't know how you work around that. A lot of support if it comes the next game we drop points, or after 5 or 6 games with more dropped points. It's going to be the same conversations that we have, and it's going to get continuous throughout the season. And it may get to a point where you go, this has gone too long, and you look at the board making the decisions again. They're not making them. Are they scared to make decisions? Do they not want to make decisions because they don't know who to bring in? Or is it simply, we're going to wait and see who comes in as these high up board members before they look at the manager? There's a lot going on around the club, but as I said earlier on, there seems to be no progress. The money spent, Barron, to me, has been a hit. He's fell away at times, but is that down to team performance? Other players that have come in, Cortez, injury record, not great, but there seem to be knocks that you can't help in football, and he just seems to be very unlucky with them. If we'd got Seema, would it have been a different story? I don't think one player makes a difference to the way a squad looks just now. And I think it's really hard for us as supporters to think positive based on what we're seeing on the pitch. But I think there's so much noise around the club that the players are getting affected by it as well. And they'll try the hardest to say, no, we don't look at that stuff. Of course they do. If they don't know what's going on above them, they're going to be worried about where's the vision for them. Are they going to come in one day and it's a whole new board, whole new manager, and back to square one? Far too much uncertainty. So I will agree with Smith that there needs to be stability at the top before we look at the manager. Because as I said earlier, mate, I can't name a manager right now who would cost nothing or very little to come in.
Aye.
Not saying Clement's the answer, but it's a matter of opinion. I'm not saying Clement's the manager to take us forward. I'm not saying he isn't. I just don't know what the future would look like if he went, and that would worry me because of where the board is at the minute. So it kind of comes hand in hand.
Right, Rob, thanks for that. Taking us up to the tune, Bridgeman. But no, well said. Listen, Smurf has made his points. He's put it out there. He's put his head above the parapet. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
lots to think about, Bridgeman. Rob's made some valid points there as well.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, 100%. I think most people that follow Rangers have seen ups and downs, of course. But this, at the present moment, there's not even an up and down about it. We are just rank rotten. And I don't know if anybody actually realises how rotten we are. And you get guys that have been going to see Rangers for donkey's years, sitting in the stands, watching play out, and you can hear the groans every time. Not every time, but most times when a bad pass takes place, and it gets louder and louder and louder. And I'm not kidding on. It's really, really horrible sitting watching the Rangers in it. And that's from dyed-in-the-wool Rangers fans, including myself. I know that I've said it right at the very start of the programme. We've got 3 key areas of the club that's got to be filled. 3 key areas, and we spoke about it earlier. Yes, you got 3 senior guys, a chairman, a chief executive, and a director of football or football operations. They've got to be done. I don't know who's going to do them. I don't know which way they're going to bring them in. And for me, it would obviously have to be a chairman first, and then he would appoint his CEO, and so on and so forth. If everything was right, everything's not right. We've got a manager there that is not getting a tune out of these players by the look of it. And not just for 1 week, 1 weekend. Our scoring record is absolutely abysmal. And we're lying third in the league, and deservedly so. Deservedly so, and that's the truth. I thought that Kilmarnock could have scored 3 or 4 against us. We should have scored maybe 3 or 4 ourselves. But the truth is we're not able to do it. And we've got very, very poor play and very poor teamwork. And that's the truth of it. And it needs a manager to be able to pull the team together and get it going, because there's nobody else can do it. And we're going to go to a European night at Ibrox Thursday, and let's hope we enjoy it and we get a victory. But sitting here and now talking to you guys, I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see us even getting a draw out of that. I think we're playing so poorly. So the manager's got a few days to lift these players up, because it's not just to get that game there and now. Even games that we're winning 1-0. And really and truly, we should be roasting the teams. And in all probability, in play we are, but we're not finishing it off. So it doesn't augur well. Unless that boy Dessers can turn it on and score a few goals, which he's due doing. And I just don't feel right. I don't feel right about it all. But we'll be there. We'll still be following the teams. The fans will still follow the team. But the truth is, will the manager still be their favourite? I don't think so. I think they're going to turn on him, and that's not going to be nice. Not going to be nice at all.
Smurf, come back to you now. In my opinion, I think Clement's got to help himself now. He's got to prove that he's adaptable to change his team, change his formation, play guys where they were bought to be played. He spoke about Bizrami as a number 10, but he's playing him out left. Play him as a 10. He bought Diamondi for Northland. He was wide left. Play him wide left. Go to a 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Adapt, change. I remember I was at his first game last year against Hibs, and we were brilliant that day. We beat them 4-0. Do you know the difference I noticed right away? Tavernier hardly crossed the halfway line. We were structured, we were rigid, we overran them in the midfield, we were movement, it was up front. It was good to watch. And I went, oof, if this is signs to come, then we've got a right manager here. It seems to have disappeared with the cloud that's came over. We was losing the league, we was losing the Scottish Cup, we didn't start well, obviously the Copeland Road fiasco, we were playing at Hampden, all these stuff are out with Clement's control, but right enough. But he needs to help himself now, Smurf, if he's to remain in charge at Rangers for me. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are this. We bring in the wee boy Barron, and we're lauding him. We're saying, oh, this boy's his energy, his enthusiasm, his drive, his commitment, his attitude, and all the rest of it. His endeavours have been first class. But that boy, when they get in that Aberdeen team now, That boy didn't start every game last season for Aberdeen. He sometimes played off the bench. So he has done well since he came in. But the fact that we're looking at that young boy and going, well, he's a hit, that only goes to highlight the scarcity of quality within our squad in midfield. So he's got to be more flexible. I would totally agree with that. However, you know, we look at the strikers he's brought in, Igaman, and that's the development one. You've got Danilo out injured, he can't do nothing about that. Big Dessers, can't get rid of him. You know, we're stuck with what we've got. And I just don't think, I think the squad, it was a different squad last season, it was stronger. And we're in a transition. It's not been transitioned, it's still in transition. We need a spine of the team. We need a striker. We need a midfield general, a 6, and we need a centre half. We've got 2 journeyman centre halves in Big Soapy and the proper. You know, we need an actual centre half, a guy who's your Richard Goff or your Terry Butcher. They're not going to be in that class, but your first name in the team sheet guy. And he's got to be brave and he's got to drop tav. You know, we need to move on now. You know what I mean? And but ultimately, when it really push comes to shove, you can't get rid of him. And the reason you can't get rid of him, even if you want to, is because the people that are looking to take these positions up the stair are the people who sack and employ replacements. So you'd be doing their work for them before you employ them. And then if they come in and go, no, he's not right for the club, we'll sack him and all. And any money that's going out the club in terms of paying off the manager, that comes out of your budget for financial fair play. It comes out of the footballing budget. So you're cutting your own throat. We're not going to win the league. Period. So why are you sacking the manager? Even if you bring somebody else in, you're not going to win the league. So you get through to the end of the season, hopefully the executive's in place, and then you go for there.
Fair points.
Sorry,
Fair
that's
points.
a bit of a rant. Sorry.
Yeah, you're entitled to it. We're all feeling it. Anyway, we've been joined by Jordan. Good evening, Jordan.
Hi, panel. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your thoughts for tonight?
I never thought I'd be going and saying this, but I actually feel I was more disconnected with us as a football club than I've ever been. I think the last time, aside the horrors of 2012 when the league's back up, I think the last time we were this poor was with the 2006-7 season when we finished below Hearts, albeit to be fair, Hearts are a really good team this year. I never ever thought I'd be in this position to say this, but I think the record's going to be broken this season the way it looks now for us being as bad as we were back then under Le Glen. Right now, I don't think we're in a fight for second place. I think we're in a fight for third place with Dundee United. And it's really sad saying that, but that's the way it seems to me now. I don't know what you think, but my call the point tonight is, since the events of 2012, does anyone else feel that the identity has been ripped out of us as a football club? We were born with a tradition of demanding victories, winning trophies, and just being a demanding fan base overall. I now seem to think that that's changed for the worse, with bringing in incompetent owners, players that seem good out with Rangers, like Diamande, for example, put up in Denmark, he was really good, comes to Rangers and it's just a no-show. But it's not just been recently. I feel this has been on for quite a long while. So I'm beginning to wonder now, are we now beginning to lose our identity as a football club?
That's a fair call. That's a fair point, Jordan, and thanks for phoning us up to tell us your thoughts. Listen, I think there's a lot of shared your sentiments there. There was obviously the kind of journey years under McCoist, and then we thought we'd maybe climbed the mountain when we got up through Warburton. We were seeming to be playing good football in the Championship, but things quickly fell apart when Warburton realised they wasn't up to the task of competing in the Premier League. You know, I can remember in the stand in the Govan, it was going for 55, and Warburton admits that his heart sank. because he knew he was really up against it. At the time, that's not the mentality of the managers that we want. Obviously, we then replaced him with Caixinha, disaster. Gerrard came in, blew the cobwebs away. That was after Murray, right enough. He seemed to blow the cobwebs away, but it took him 3 years to get there. Let's not forget that. And he also had excess of £40 million there to spend. We don't have that sort of money to get to come on. I wish we did. But then you're looking at after Gerrard, Gio, was he dictated to with the director of football? Was he in control of recruitment? I don't think so. Then we had the debacle with Michael Beale, and now we've got come on to Rob. It's not a pretty picture. And with what Jordan says there, is the heart been ripped at the club? He could have a great point there, because it seems that way. We don't recognise what we're watching there. With either players, managers, directors, the way they're carrying on as well, shareholders. It's we're bottom of the rock stuff in it, Rob.
Jordan makes a great point, mate, about the club losing identity, and that's just not the team on the park, that's the club from top to bottom. As you've said, they went through all those years where there's been ups and downs, and when you get up to the highs and glories of the 55 and competing again in Europe, you think you've just got it. You're starting to see progress, you're starting to get back amongst where it was, and then it just kind of falls and crumbles. Is it identity because of who's in charge on the board level? They might be Rangers men, they might be Rangers supporters, but it doesn't mean they're always doing best for the club. And I think that's what's filtering down now for the past few seasons, AK, of being the identity on the pitch. We've spoken on this show before about identity in terms of the amount of Scottish players that we used to have in the first team. Now, Liam Kelly, John Souttar, Connor Barron, forget if there's any more, but days gone by, you could have a full squad and sub-bench full of Scottish players. So there's identity lost there. There's identity lost at boardroom level because they're not doing what's best for the club. And it just seems that lately, it's been a big revolving door. And that's where I kind of stop at the sacking the manager shouts, because every time we do that, we're back to square one again. But as I said, I'm not saying Clement's the man to improve us and take us on. I'm not saying he needs to sack. That's decisions that are going to be made. As a supporter, ultimately, I want decisions made that's best for our club. And if that's sticking with Clement and seeing this through and getting the stability that Smith mentions at boardroom level, and we see progress, fine. If we don't, then decisions then get made. But just another point that Smith made about Danilo was out injured. You might be pleased to hear tonight, Smith, he's playing for the B team, and he's actually scored. The B team are 2-0 up in the quarter-final of the SPFL Trust Trophy. And, interestingly enough, all first-team coaching staff are there, including Niels Coppin. Don't know what you make of that. Quarter-final, not a big massive tie, but Danilo and Hadji are two of the kind of first-team players, as you want to say, are involved tonight.
Good stuff. Thanks for that wee mini report there, and your thoughts as well. Bridgeman, Jordan's come on there, made a valid point. Has Rangers lost their identity? Bridge? Off a mute, Bridge.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. The identity thing was what I was really getting to when I said that earlier. I'm feeling now, right now, I'm feeling that we're sinking back to the time of 2012. We're a lost club. We've absolutely no leadership. John Gilligan, I love it with bits, so I'm sure he'll do whatever he can do. But he's not. He's only. I don't know what to say about him other than thanks very much for being there, because he stepped in and done it. But the truth is, we desperately need to get figureheads in and get it sorted, because they're the only people that can sort it. That'll be their job. They've got to come in and do their job, the same as the players go in and do their job. But the feeling of dread, I've not felt dread like this since 2012. I'm not being funny when I say that, and I forgive me, Rangers fans all over, please forgive me, but that's exactly how I feel. Just as if it was 2012 all over again. It's like we took 10 steps back in the history again. Wow. And it's scary. And obviously, if we go out and win 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row, then we don't think these things. And my God, I for one, sit there and I just cannot see that team in the pitch giving us 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. I'd absolutely love it. I'd be over the moon if he could just do it. If they could win on Thursday night, I'd eat my hat, you know, that kind of thing. Seriously, not going by the performance in the last couple of games. And I know we won one of them, but really, we were really pretty poor. We get plenty of the ball, but we don't know what to do with it, and that's a killer. And other teams realise that they can't do anything with it, and they punish us at times, you know. But yes, that 2012 thing has never left me, and I feel it coming back. I feel that dread coming back. So if maybe the guys will understand, maybe you'll all understand just what it was like. Remember what it was like for yourself, and the thought that standing in a queue that took maybe 7 hours to get to the ticket office to buy tickets to see the Rangers, and didn't know whether it was there, and Charles Green coming up and doing the queue, take my hat off to him for that, making sure people were all right, plenty of water, plenty of wee bits of bites of food for people. That was that cheered you up a wee bit. But 3 days in a row, we're sort of standing in queues for tickets for different games. Unbelievable. I can't say any more than that. I'm feeling really I feel dreadful about it all. And that's the way I think. I do apologize. If I've upset anybody, I hope I haven't. I hope you don't differ with me. My thoughts too much. But I'm full of dread at the moment.
You're fine, Bridge. Smurf, Jordan makes a very valid point. Great point. Actually, the words of Stuart Robertson rings in my ears for a couple of years ago when we were celebrating our 150th anniversary in the stand, the steps of the city chambers. This club's history holds us back. That was your CEO saying that, Smurf.
Well, that's why he had to go. That's why
exactly.
he had to go in a nutshell. That's why he had to go. And I'll tell you something. Dave King recognised. Sorry,
Smurf,
go on.
hold on. He was also the guy that born Rangers for everyone, anyone as well. I always had my doubts about him yourself.
Oh, absolutely. No, he had to go. The history holds it back. What he wanted to do, really, he wanted the Rangers in his own image, which is a kind of peely-wally, you know, the odd success, get there eventually kind of attitude. You know, he's never going to be a guy that was a mover and a shaker, and you know, and an achiever, and actually not just drag Rangers forward, but drag Scottish football forward. No, that guy, and he should never have been at the club. But that's where we were at the time. That was recognised by Dave King, actually, about the identity thing. I think a lot of that was, you could see when Gerrard came in, coaching staff, etc., people from behind the scenes going to Liverpool and learning how they're doing things and then implementing it at Ibrox. There was changes of chefs. There was things appearing, vinyls appearing on walls. This is Ibrox, you know, which was this is Anfield thing. That's what they're in their crest, isn't it? As they walk out the, and it's and I didn't sit well with me that. I didn't want to be a reincarnation of Liverpool. I wanted to be us, and he makes a valid point. I don't know how you fix it, but I know what you don't do. You don't sack Philip Clement when there's no executive in place. I think I can rationalise what's going on at the moment. The squad's worse than it was last year. We've had to downsize the money we spend. The FFP thing's hamstringing us, whether you've got money there or no. And it's going to take time. I said 3 years. And whether Clement's the right guy or no, whoever comes in, he's going to need to rebuild within the constraints of FFP, and I think it's going to take 3 years. You guys that are coming in, Bridgeman, right at the beginning of the show, made a great point. They're going to Rugby Park for the first time. But every away ground's going to be a first time for some of these guys. And we just need to stick the course. And hopefully the coin will turn. I don't think there's a quick fix to this. There just isn't.
Yep. Thanks for that, Smurf. Jordan, back to yourself, pal. We've all answered your initial comment. What's your thoughts on the response that you got? You there? Jordan? Don't know what happened there. Rob, response to Smurf's thoughts then, and the next few games are vital to us. Hopefully Jordan will sort himself out and he can come back in there.
I think Smurf's right. There is a lot of players who will play at these away grounds for the first time, but have they played in similar, if not worse, kind of pitches, stadiums, potentially? I think it's just the expectation might be too big for some players. You said it earlier on, the weight of the jersey, you don't realise it until you're wearing it on the park. And when you do have a game that goes against you, that's when you really feel the weight of it, because you feel the noise, the fans, the feeling of feeling down. You go ahead.
What, Rob? Jordan, then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Rob, on you go.
The feeling of disbelief, despair at times, that's when players will notice it. But again, a lot of people use the pitch at Rugby Park as an excuse. There's an artificial pitch in the Rangers training centre. You can't tell me they don't use that for preparation. You can't tell me they've not played on AstroTurf before. That's just an excuse for me. Players of our standard should be able to go to Rugby Park and get a result. It's the performances that are affecting it. You don't have a good performance, we'd all love a Bridgeman. He'll tell you himself, if we have a poor performance in 1-0, that's fine. But if you have a poor performance and you don't get the result, that's when you start getting questions looked at you.
Good stuff. Jordan, are you there now, pal?
Aye, sorry, the signal keeps cutting off. I'm not too sure what's going on. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries at all. I don't know if you picked up in Smurf's response, everybody's response to your initial point. Good point, pal.
What's your thought? I'm at that stage now where I don't know what to believe anymore with what's coming out of Rangers. Like the game on Thursday, I'm not getting excited anymore. I made a sort of suggestion to my pal. I mean, he's got a season ticket. I know at the end of the day. I did say to him, and he said, I would expect him to turn and say this is a bit harsh, he's saying this, but I said, I did promise him, I said, I'll not be back at Ibrox until things are on the up again. And I fear to say that I don't know when that's going to be. And his response was, I don't blame you at the end of the day. I feel that I was going to games during the season and I wasn't even feeling happy when I was coming back for the games because a lot of the performances were so underwhelmed. Even the 6-0 against Ross County, I just felt underwhelmed about that. The writing was on the wall this season in the Man United game at Murrayfield, the friendly. I just thought instantly, I thought this is a sign of things to come. And then the Hearts away game sort of started it off for me. So yeah, it's hard even getting into games now where you think it's going to be a decent enough game and you're losing all that sort of self-belief in yourself to say that I'm not even really bored anymore. And that hurts me really bad, guys. It really does. And that includes even like games like Aberdeen, that might include an Old Firm game. And that's really just because of the years that we've been mismanaged and the years that we've underwhelmed and underperformed and that the fans have been let down continuously. And you're even getting instances now where you've got players sort of arguing back with the fans, having Journey sort of most recently. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute, at the end of the day, you say you're hurting. We're the ones that are paying our dues to go to the game and watch you at the end of the day. We are the club. not use it at the end of the day, with all due respect. You're still getting your big wages and going away at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's all came together and effectively, and it's just like the weekend there was a sort of click of fingers to say that for the time being, I'm done, and I don't want to be, but I feel like the decision's been forced upon me.
Aye. Listen, we're all feeling your hurt and your anger, frustrations, but it's came to that point of the night, guys. If you two want to put yourself on mute, Bridge and Rob, Tate, we've got time for a tune.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
You all back, boys?
Yes.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Good man. Everybody reporting in. That was a poignant tune. Thanks for that, folks. The Glasgow Rangers story, Rob. That's what it's all about. Jordan, you know, he's right in what he said there. We're the custodians of the club, basically, because we're always there. Players come and go, managers come and go, directors come and go, chairmen come and go. The main constant is the support. When you lose that, that's when you know you're in bother, Rob. Come on. He's nearly there, I would say, with a good percentage of support now. He needs results. He needs wins. How does he do it? He needs a response for the team. He needs a response for himself.
Yeah, right, mate. We've seen it before. The impact supporters can have. You look only recently, Gio, the fans kind of turned on him pretty quickly, and despite getting a European final run and almost winning the trophy, let's be honest, it was a paint away from a European title, which would have been a great success. The league position, the league performances, they fell, and the fans voiced their opinions, and ultimately he was cost his job. That's what happens, as you say. You lose the support, and that's when the manager is under real pressure. And if you cast your mind back to Clement's first interview, He wanted to get the synergy back between the players, the club, and the fans. And unfortunately, mate, we're losing that right now. How does he fix it? The players need to answer the question, do you want to play for this manager and this club? Go and show it, go and prove it. Prove it to themselves, prove it to the manager, but ultimately prove it to us as supporters. You're right, we pay the hard-earned cash to go week in, week out, home, away, abroad for our team. We expect better, and it should be better. So these players and manager and the board need to look at themselves and say, the ones that are hurting here are us, the supporters, and that's how you fix it. Because if you don't want unhappy supporters, you're not going to be at the club for much longer, are you?
No, you're not. Listen, just a wee quick update, maybe put a smile on people's faces tonight. Rangers B go 3-0 up, so good for the boys. Good for them. That's impressing the management team there that Rob's told us about. I'm sure Southside and Albury will be enjoying the game as well. Bridgeman, it's where do we go? It's one of them now, isn't it? It's maybe last chance saloon for Clermont. We've got if the Stoya Bucharest coming up there, and then we've got St Mirren coming up, then we've got Aberdeen, and then we've got Motherwell in the League Cup final. And I think anything less than 4 victories there now could very well the plug.
100%, and it's what we all say. We have to win every game. No matter what, there's a challenge for Rangers every single game, and we should be winning them. As a club, the position we are as a club, or certainly I would suggest we're the best club in Scotland without a doubt. The truth of the matter is, on the pitch, we're not. Now, we've got huge games coming up, and the manager has managed to limp through a few in the recent past. And obviously, the biggest game of the season is coming up on Thursday, you know. Are we saying it doesn't really matter if we don't win, you know, that kind of thing? Or, no, we should be fighting. Every single game we should be fighting. We should have players that don't want to stop running. But seriously, you just watch them and they don't want to run. You know, when they I don't understand why we can't do what other teams do. You know, I just don't understand that. We got a far better club than every club in our league, and we just can't pull it together. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I've watched it for the last couple of seasons. We do really great stuff and getting great runs, and all of a sudden it all falls apart in front of us, you know. And this season more than ever, we're only started this season. We've only played 8 games or something, and here we are. We're third in the league, 6 points behind them. Oh my God! I don't know what we're going to do. I'm a tale of woe, that isn't it, really? But we need to be better. We need to be better.
Definitely. Smurf, I'll come back to you. Rob says, our Bridgeman says, does it matter? Of course it matters. I don't think he meant it that way anyway, but you're representing our club, you're representing the support. Europe's a big game, obviously the money factor for the board, but I think it's the domestic success that the Rangers support really strive for, so I get where Bridgeman's coming from, but important game on Thursday. We need a reaction, and a good positive reaction. Stoya Bucharest have started with 2 victories in their European campaign so far. They're sitting 5th in the Romanian league, so they're not exactly pulling up trees there. I think this is an opportunity for the players and the manager to show character on Thursday. The character that you should be at our club, because see, if you don't, you're at the wrong club.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody can. I mean, what you've said is absolutely spot on. They've got to go out. They've got to get a reaction, and they've got to show something. But ultimately, the club operate in a market at a price point that gets you players that will get you so far, and that's just how it is. And then beyond that, they come at a higher price point, but we can't go to those markets. So a lot of it is the quality of player is commensurate to what we can afford. But you're 100% right. If you can't go to Ibrox and fight and try and get a result, you're in the wrong place.
see, I know what you're saying, right? But does the system allow the players to play better than what they're showing? Is the system the problem?
I agree with you. I've said this for the beginning of the season. He's not got the players to play that system. You listen to Derek McInnes after his post-match interview, right? And he said Rangers presses high up a park. And that's what you do. That's the idea of that. You're pressing the opposition team in their own half, flooding it. And if you remember the Celtic game, for the first 10 minutes, they look sensational, pressing them in their own park, but it leaves a big gap in behind. They defended as a unit, and then they attacked as a unit, and they overwhelmed as they exploited the big hole in behind. It could have been about 3 or 4-0 up at half time. Let's be honest. He doesn't have the players. That's his preferred style of football, and that's his identity, whatever you want to call it. But he's got to be more pragmatic because he does not have the players to play that brand of football. The players at Ibrox aren't good enough. Some of them need to be gone. Some of them are just fresh in. There's question marks over others. And ultimately, there's big turnovers. A club that's successful has a squad, and that squad's lived together for 2 or 3 years, and it might go on and dominate for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And each year, the manager will go out and he'll tweak that squad, and he might bring 2 players in, might bring 3 players in. He's not going to bring 10 players in. They're just 1s and 2s. He doesn't want to upset the dressing room, and he's trying to up the ante and be quality. We're going quantity because we're in this mire of changing managers, etc., etc. And then they want to play their own systems and they want their own players in. We need to stick this out. We need to just take our medicine. We need to allow him to assemble a squad till he gets to a place where he's going to be bringing in 1s and 2s and then see where we go. But ultimately, the players that are there, what he's inherited, etc., aren't good enough. If Rangers were, you can tell, if Rangers are a fit and healthy club, where we sort of shining light has been Connor Barron, I would say he's on the bench. And that puts illuminates the deficiencies in our club. He needs to go out and get a centre half. He needs a number 6, and he needs to get himself his own attacker, his own striker. That's what he needs. He needs a spine to the team. The team lacks a spine, and he does not have the players to play that. Barcelona played that way. So they did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're kidding ourselves. We're not good enough. We need to sort of shore up that midfield. That big hole. We need to plug that gap. And if he doesn't, the fans will vote with their feet, and ultimately they'll have to let him go. And all that's going to do is hurt the club, and then you're just carrying on that hamster wheel. It's as simple as that.
That's the fear, Smith. Jordan, I'll come to you next. That's the fear for me. See if he doesn't prove that he's adaptable to change formation, because what we're watching is boring. It's turgid. It's, you're turning the telly off there. Those that weren't at the game, it's no enjoyable to watch. We've had 1-0 victories against Hibs and up at Tannadice, and with 2-0 against St Johnstone. Cherny chips in, but it's no great to watch. Oxshare mentioned it last night. We've almost scored 1 goal away from him in four games so far in the league. We've almost scored 12 goals in total. We've conceded 5. It's no good stats, because one of them was a 6-0 victory against Ross County. So basically we've almost scored 6 goals in the other 7 league games. That's not good enough, Jordan, for our team. Our strikers aren't firing, we're not creating. It's not good enough for our club. And listen, I accept the 16 players out, 12 players in. It is a huge turnover, but we've spent £14 million on these guys. Cortez, we've not really seen him. Danilo, another big injury-prone kind of guy. Diamondi's no pulled up trees. Tierney's been in and out. Bajrami, there's signs that he's good, but he's not consistent, proper. There's question marks back over him. Suter had Ronaldo in his pocket last week. So what's the problem with Marley Watkins? Jordan, what's happening to our team? Is it no getting inspired to come on? Is that the problem? Or is it the players? Jordan? Not there. Bridgeman, I'll come back to you, Jordan. Bridgeman.
Yeah, I think you're talking there. It is difficult. I make no bones about it. It is very difficult. And you talk about the limited number of goals that were scored. We scored 6 in one game. Magic, fabulous. Here we go. We could do this every week. Surely we'd be able to do this at least twice a week, twice a month, or something like that, No. We've only had, 1 goal, 4 goals. I think 4 goals away from home this season. Is that correct?
No, 4 games, Bridgeman. 1-0, we won it at Dundee United. It was 0-0 at Tynecastle. It was 3-0 defeat Celtic Park, and 1-0 defeat at Kilmarnock. It's really, statistically speaking, really, really poor. Now, we were going to be in the ascendancy this season, for sure. Every one of us thought we would be in the ascendancy. We've got good players coming in. He's got a few injuries, but the door was open for a lot of folk just to go out, the ones that were possibly costing us a few quid, so we're saving a few quid. He's brought some other boys in, and some of them have been quite successful, others not so, and of course others are injured. And that's one of the bad things for us, is the severity of the injuries. But good news tonight, you were saying some of them played. It's looking a lot better coming on. So apart from the European games, these players will do well for us, I'm quite sure. But they have to be able to keep it together, and they have to be able to have some in the midfield, like Hadji. Hadji has to commit to the midfield game, and he has to force other players to play or make other people play. So, when he gives them nice passes, help them go on, do all the great things that he could do, because he's a smashing good player. But really and truly, overall, we can all see what's going to happen in the very, very near future if we don't win games. In the very, very, very near future, the whole thing's going to explode on us. And that's my fear. It's going to explode on us. We need to win games, and we need to win good games and play well. But I don't care about them playing well, to be honest. A 1-0 victory for me, just to get the points, just to get the victories behind us. And surely the team will react to that, the players will react to that, because, they can't all be rubbish, but they're playing rubbish. They can't all be rubbish. Surely, somebody tell me our team is full of half-decent players. They're struggling a wee bit for some reason or other. I don't know whether it's just the manager, it's what's going on with the board at senior management level. I don't know, but there's something no right. How can you have players that can't put the ball in the net from 2 yards and 3 yards consistently? Don't put the ball in the net from these distances. It's really bad. So we have to smarten ourselves up. I don't know how the manager's going to do it, but he'll get a knighthood for me if he does it. I'll tell you, he'll get a knighthood for me if he can do it. Jordan, are you there at all, pal? I think Jordan's having issues with his phone there. That's a pity. Well, you can maybe phone us back if you want, pal, but thanks for your input there. Rob, I just want to move it on a wee bit now. Thursday night, we've got Steaua Bucharest. I touched on it there. They actually sit 4th, I think, in the league table. They've started well.
Welcome to the Tesco mobile voicemail service. The person you're calling is...
They've had 2 victories so far. Where is it? I've got the first one was against a Latvian team. Never heard of them, but a 4-1 home win. And then they went away to the great team, PAOK, Salonika, and they had a good 1-0 victory there. So they're in high spirits. They come to Ibrox on Thursday with their tails up. I seen a wee bit tonight for their owner. I don't know if you caught that. They said that they're actually going to field a weakened team and they fancy their chances. Rob, give us hope.
Well, you stole some of my stats there, mate, but they're currently 5th in the league table, mate. They are 19 points from 12 games. They've scored 17 in those 12 and they've conceded 15. So there's room to go and get goals against them. And as you said, they've played 2 Europa League games, a 4-1 win and a 1-0 win against PAOK. Interestingly enough, AK, that game against PAOK, they spent a large part of that game playing with 10 men. So they're quite resolute defensively, despite having 15 goals conceded in the league. Predominantly, I've noticed when checking them out, they've done a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, similar setup to ourselves. And I think the kind of man we need to watch for on Thursday night would be their striker. He's the top scorer for them in the league with 4 goals, 3 assists. That's kind of the main man up front, Daniel Baraliga. There's chances
Well
to be
done.
made at that game. I tell you, mate, these names are getting harder each week. The fact they've conceded 15 league goals, only 1 in Europa, tells you that there's chances that we can get in behind and take our chances. But again, it's down to us at home being clinical enough. It's a game that, again, the first game against Malmo, good start. You get the win, and then you look at the Lyon game, and it goes backwards again. Again, it's a level up from Malmo. But on paper, AK, this is a game where we should go and get the 3 points, particularly at home, and give us a bit of belief again. Now, I know we could get carried away at times and say, oh, we're back and all that, but right now, where we sit, I think any result on Thursday night, in terms of a win, would be a positive. So hopefully we do see some sort of reaction from the players. Will Clement change his tactics? I don't see it, mate. He's played 4-2-3-1 since he's came in the door. Even when we've had players out in certain positions, he's stuck to it and he's flung players in. I don't think he's got adaptability in terms of a formation. We've seen that players maybe do different jobs for him at different times. Last season, you've seen Sima playing almost like a left wing back in Prague. Not really a formation change, but it's a tactical change. But in terms of setup, I don't see it being any different from 4-2-3-1. And I think that's where not only the striker gets a bit of stick, and Dessers, of course, being the main man up front, the squad as a whole aren't chipping in with the goals. And that's the concern. You need your creative players. You need players giving the ball good service to create chances and score. But you could have 20 chances. If you score 1, it's not good enough. Might get you 3 points, but you want more goals. So I think there is goals in this game, mate. But it could be for both teams, if I'm honest, the way they look at Sunday's performance for us as well.
Thanks for that, Rob. Good day. Some good stats in there, Smurf. If he doesn't change his formation, if he doesn't change his tactics, there are going to be groans for the crowd, I'll tell you that, when we see the team. But I just hope he does. I had a wee look at the tickets actually available today. The public sales went on for the game for Thursday now. 50 quid a ticket, Smurf. I mean, come on, if you're struggling to sell out, can we not think a wee bit smart on our feet here and reduce them down to, 35 quid or something like that, and try and get
You've got to be reasonable. They've got to be reasonable, and they're not in a position of strength to, we're tails on the up. We're no on the brink of another European final. We're something that's just popped into my head there and stopped me dead in my tracks. We're talking about Rangers losing their identity for 2012. We've just played in the European final. Do you know what I mean? It's just. But as a support, we're mental, aren't we? Really? Let's be honest. We're 6 points behind. 30 games to go. Massive rebuild job. You know what I mean? Let's just calm down. Just calm down a wee bit. Just relax. Let's get the directors in that we need to get in, and then let them make decisions. But going back to the game, we should be battering them all day long. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. The fans aren't happy, and you're 100% right. When we're operating the way we're operating at the moment, and the fans are irked, as the fan base is, you can't be charging 50 quid a whip. You're right. They've got to be a wee bit more prudent, a wee bit more emotional intelligence. Trap the prices a wee bit. Give them something to smile about, and maybe they'll come out. Who knows?
Aye. Listen, Bridgeman, we've moaned about our playing at Hampden, and we've seen the disparity of the crowd that was there. There wasn't a great number that went to Hampden, yourself included, but it was everybody's individual choice, but it wasn't a great look for the team, and certainly no getting behind them. If we're charging 50 quid for that game on Thursday, and you're playing in front of a half-empty stadium, that's not a good look for us as a club, and it's obviously it gives the supporters an easy decision to vote with their feet and no support the club.
AK, you're asking the wrong man there.
Oh, Bridgeman's already got his package, so fair play to him. Bridgeman will follow on. Bridge, your thoughts?
Oh, we've got to go and see our team, but look, I don't know why the club are acting the way they are. They saw what happened at Hampden, the amount of fans that could have went, didn't go. I don't go to Hampden. I didn't like the place. I'll go to all the home games at Ibrox. That's as far as I could go, not to Hampden. But as far as I'm concerned, we've got a stadium called Ibrox, and we want to fill that stadium as much as possible. But we've got to see a team, the fans have got to see a team on the park that can make us happy. And at the moment, they are not making us happy. It's not overcharging us, in a sense, but to ask us to pay 50 quid for what? To go and see our team getting thrashed? And really and truly, we've got to really ask these questions. If we don't start adjusting and making things happen on the park, that's all you're going to do. You're just going to be asking the fans to put their money in their pocket and just gaze it and don't bother coming up. I don't know what the crowd's going to be tomorrow night or Thursday night rather, but it should be 50-something thousand, 51,000. That's what it should be. It should be an absolute full house. We're playing in a Europa League, massive game for Rangers, marvellous money maker. But it sounds like there's not that many people going, maybe 35,000, 40,000 people. And if that's the case, embarrassing. Who are we going to blame for that? And I'm asking everyone, who would you blame for that? Would you blame the fans? Would you blame the board that's not there? Or would you blame the manager that is there? These are, to me, straightforward questions. Who do we blame for the situation? Or is it just bad luck?
I think they've got to be more sensible with their ticket price, particularly for that game there. But anyway, we're coming into the last half hour of the show. Give us your thoughts on the ticket situation, the manager situation, and where do we go? So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Rob, I've had a wee stab at a team. I don't know about yourself. I'm going to be bold and change formation for the manager. You can give us your thoughts on this, but I'm going to go 4-4-2. See if Mr. Clermont's listening tonight. Obviously, he's at the game with the B team, but he
Welcome to the O2 messaging service. The person you are calling is unable to take your call.
Right. I've obviously got Butland in goal. I'm going to go Cash and Verno to start right back. I'm going to go 4-4-2. Suitor proper, Jefty. I'm going to go Kearney, left, right. Midfield, Barron and Raskin in the middle. Diamondi wide left. Bizrami a kind of floating role. And I'm going to go Lovelace up top to bring a bit of freshness. That young boy came in there last year for me, and he looked decent. He's kicking his heels on that bench. Dessers is no producing. Iganami, when he's come on, no producing. Why are we holding Lovelace back in? Your thoughts, Rob?
Some bold moves in there, mate. I'll say that. Casemiro one, I could maybe see him starting. Maybe not at right back. Potentially, I would maybe see him at left back. And pushing Yefty up one into that kind of left midfield role. I still think he'll stick with the 4-2-3-1, mate. I don't see him changing. There's been nothing that suggests to me that he would. Your point on Lovelace, interestingly enough, he did play tonight as well. He played 45 minutes. Read into that what you want. Is it just building up minutes? Is it because Clement wants him involved? Who knows? We'll obviously wait and see on Thursday, but I think it would be a very big eyebrow raiser. Is it a game that you fling the boy in? I mean, people say can't do any wrong than what Dessers has done, but the way the pressure is just now in the club, the manager, the team, it's a lot of responsibility on a young boy's shoulders. You might find Igamani starts. I've not really thought about a team, but if you're asking me on the spot, I don't see many changes from where it has been. Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper. I'll go Casemiro at left back. Barron, and I'll go with Raskin. I'll agree with you on that one. And then the three, I would see it as Cherny, Bajrami, Yefty, and maybe Igamani up front.
Aye, fair enough, mate. It's all about opinion. And as I say, I'm just hoping, Smurf, that the manager does have the balls to change, prove that he's changing. You know, wilt to the support a wee bit. You know, throw your ego out in the bin just for the sake of yourself, for the sake of the club, for the sake of the fans, because what we're watching isn't good enough. We know that. You know, we weren't looking forward there, if you're honest, before we even kicked a ball down at Rugby Park, because we knew what we were looking at, playing in that pitch, the wind conditions, how organised Derek McInnes has their team. They've always been hard to beat down there. They had a couple of good results against us and Celtic last year. But Clement, for me, he's no helping himself. And this is where the frustrations in the fans are coming out. If this guy's that stubborn, he's no willing to listen to anybody, we're not playing well, we're not getting good results, it's not going to end well. Murph?
No, you're 100% right. And listen, see, just one thing I want to say now is, you look at that Kilmarnock team, they played, was it Copenhagen they played earlier in Europe this year?
Correct, yeah.
Aye. And by the way, they weren't a million miles. Copenhagen's a good team, and they weren't miles and miles off it. Derek McInnes is a good manager, and he's got good players there, and they're organised. And so they're going to make it difficult for anybody. And if you're not 100%, you're going to get your draws pulled in this league. And that's just how it is. So that's, you know, just sort of address that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the players need to be at it. In terms of him changing, I totally agree. We don't have the players to play the system, but he spent £4 million on a number 10. So I don't see him change. I don't see him not changing it. I think it'll fall on his sword before he does it. And you know, I don't want really, all things being equal. You want somebody that's flexible, that's fluid, that can think his feet. Gio was brilliant in Europe at that. Really, really was. He'd done it with Gerrard's squad. I don't think Gerrard gets to that final, but Gio did. His tactical nous in Europe was brilliant, and I don't think Clement has what Gio had. I think he's just too stubborn, to be honest with you. But in terms of your team, I agree with Rob with pushing Jeffy up one and playing Casemiro on the left, and I'd put Sterling in the right back. Solid. And I think it's for Tav, it's bye-bye Purdy. It's got to move on. Got to put down a marker. I think this is a game where you can go out and you can bounce back for a bad defeat. We can really bounce back, because I think that's a team that's very, very, very beatable.
Aye, of course it is. We've got to go in with that mindset. But do the players have that character, Bridgeman, that we're looking for a reaction, we're expecting a reaction? Does the support help? I don't want to blame the support because we've been through a lot, but we've seen the synergy between the support and the team and the manager, the reaction that we got. We went on and won a League Cup at the first attempt. We went and won in Betis. We topped the European group. We were flying. We got ourselves back into a league that we were 8 points behind in. We went top of the league. And then things, obviously, didn't finish the way it is. But it just shows you what the support can do to push that team on, Bridge, because Aberdeen are showing signs of that now, and fair play to them. They're getting behind their manager. I think Smurf's right. The expectation levels is completely different, but they're getting right behind their team. And it's that positivity is coming onto the park, where the negativity of your support is feeding onto the park as well. Bridge?
Yeah, it's a negative circle at the moment. Our squad, our fans, myself included, we respond when we see a team playing well. They might not win, but if they're playing well, at least they'll get some kudos of doing something. But we're losing a game on Sunday there against a team we should be absolutely rolling over the top of them, and we're not. We're not because we're not playing football. We just don't seem to be able to play football, which includes giving the ball to a centre forward or someone else that can hit the ball and put it in the net, and we couldn't do it. And that's continuous every week. Every week the Rangers fans have been watching that. And a lot, hats off to them, the guys that go away from home, and they're there and their flags and banners are going. Hats off to them, brilliant stuff. And they carry that team when they're away from home. They carry that team, but there's no response. They're not getting the response that other times we got good support. Some of the fans think they don't deserve us, and that's the truth. And I can tell you, a lot of fans think that they don't deserve us. I'm not going back till they get it sorted. And that's the kind of attitude that ends up getting sunk right into the heart of the support. There's always going to be the core of work. I'll always be there in my seat. So I don't really care about anybody else in that sense. But the truth is, it's sad. And we need to play football. We need to have players that can play football. And if they can't play football, then what are we going to do? We're stuck. We're sunk. You've got young lads in midfield there that don't seem to be able to pass to each other many times, They've got guys that can play football, and all of a sudden they put a pass that's maybe 10, 15 yards wide of the player they're trying to pass to. I said this at the start. Maybe that pitch was just so bad for some of these newer players to come in. They've never played on that pitch, and it can be quite a struggle for them. But no, sorry, no as many as that. We'll go back to the centre forward, please. When was the last time we saw a team that didn't have a Rangers team without a centre forward? For goodness sake, what's going now is just criminal. It's just criminal what we're doing. We're putting players in there that are just not in form, no anywhere near in form. And I'm targeting Dessers on this, so I hope the Neil gets fit quickly against the other boy, Agamemnon, but I don't know what his name is. I hope I just want somebody to take over at centre forward and start putting the ball in the net. That's what I want, because we don't have anybody that can do it. And we can't dress it up too much. When Dessers scores goals, he loves it. You can see the smile in his face, and it's great to see players being able to play with a smile on their face. But at the present moment, it's just not there. It's just not there. I'm sorry, and I fear for that. That's what I'm back to what I was saying. The feeling of dread I get is there. It might just be me, but that's the truth. I don't know what else to say about that, but I don't know.
Can I come in there?
Of course. I was just going to say, Smurf, I was coming back to you anyway. Bridgeman's right. We're not scoring enough goals. Dessers is obviously.
See, we were getting goals for the pitch, and Dessers wasn't scoring. You wouldn't notice it so much. See, we were winning, and other players were chipping in with goals. honestly, you would think, well, the coin will turn and you'll stick with it, particularly with the injury situation. It wouldn't phase you. And at the end of the season, see Dessers will score more than 20 goals this season and he'll still not win the league. Because they've got their chances, because he'll miss 80 chances. Do you know what I mean? It's just, we need goals for other areas of the pitch. And the midfield's no chipping in. We don't even have a midfield. The system doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's as simple as that.
Aye.
He needs to go to a 4-4-3, a 4-3-3, in my opinion. He needs to go to a 4-3-3. And he'll no do it.
He needs to go to something more positive to produce the goals. You're right. You need to take the shackles off. I mean, is the players, is his system too rigid that he's telling them don't go beyond the striker? And, you know, it doesn't look good. I mean, speaking to my dad, and, you know, he's a similar age, the bridge man, he says, we're called the famous Glasgow Rangers for a good reason. Because we used to entertain the crowd, we used to score a lot of goals. Teams were fearing us all in Europe. You know, they didn't want to come up against us because of the way that we played. Goes back to Jordan's point, Rob. We've lost our identity a bit there. We've got too many foreigners on the team that don't know what it means to pull on that shirt. We don't have a manager that's ingrained in the history. The boardroom, more interested in their own egos sometimes than it is for the good of the club with the Dave King, Douglas Park scenario. We've got John Bennett telling us about best in class. Where did that go? Nowhere. We've regressed for then. So it's there's negativity all over the club. So it's no wonder the supporters are feeling as down as what they are. But the team, it's all about getting results, getting wins. And there's only 11 people that can change that, and that's the players on the park, Rob.
You're right, mate. And when it becomes stale on the park, you need to look at changing something. And whether it is a formation change, a personnel change, we've chopped and changed players in different positions, albeit some have been through injury, some have been suspension, some have been just the manager favouring some other players over other people. Like you're playing when he was fit, Tom Lawrence in the 10, despite signing, as Smurf said earlier, Padrami for £4 million, who was meant to be in that number 10 position. You're playing him out wide left. Still not seen him in the 10 position effectively, or even remotely continuously to judge how good he actually could be, or is he going to be worth the £4 million? We need to change something. I agree with that, but it's ultimately what it changes to. I mean, they could go and change to a 4-3-3 and it could look 10 times better, or it could look an absolute shambles. We're all over the place. Midfield, the way we set up the two, there's massive gaps. You see it all the time. Diamandi's kind of floating about and Barron's getting the ball in between the two centre-halves. That's not structure. Where's your out ball there? It's going to Tavern and he's playing a long ball and that's it. It's back to us. Something needs to change, and whether that is the formation or the personnel, it's down to Clement to do it. And once he does change it, it's on him then, and not the players. It's on him to be tactically aware of what's happening. You look at Sunday example. How many times, AK Bridge, Smurf, have you seen Derek McInnes do a Rangers game, European game? And he knows how we set up every single game. He's adapted on his team on Sunday to know how to beat us, because we're so easy to beat these days. Gone are the days of being stubborn, resolute. Teams can walk through us now. They don't fear us. And that's an identity we've lost. We've lost the fear factor. Ibrox, teams don't mind coming now because they think they're going to get something. They don't have to sit behind the ball. Come and have a go at us and they'll probably get a result the way things are going. So we need to adapt. But again, I see it. I don't want to repeat myself, but I see it. I don't see Clement changing. And that could be the factor that costs him his job rather than anything else out with boardroom, fans, team. If he doesn't change, it could be his own downfall.
Yeah. Smurf, I'll give you 4 names with their numbers to you. Cholak, 18 goals. Sakala, 12 goals. Morelos, 9 goals. Arfield, 8 goals. 47 goals we lost with the 4 players. Beale didn't replace them. He replaced them with Dessers, which just wasn't getting the sort of figures. I know 22 is good, but many big games did they score in? No very much. Not as much as what we were looking for off him anyway. Danilo injured. Lammers, with to let go. Cifuentes, this was a game changer, with to let go. The rest of them, he made his worst first before Clement came ever in the building. But now Clement's having to work under the restraints of reducing the wage bill, reducing the age of the squad. It's a long-term strategy that they're looking for. That's why he's brought in the likes of Insiala and Iganami. But if you're playing the likes of Diamandi out of position and he's no flourishing in that new position, he's bringing in Bajrami as his number 10 and playing him wide left, he's not going to help himself. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're off the same sum sheet here.
I just think that, see if you were to look at, say we were going to a midfield 3, who would you play in that midfield 3? In all honesty, 3 midfielders, no fullbacks playing as midfielders, actual midfielders. Who would you play? It wouldn't be Tom Lawrence. He's no legs. Who would it be? You would go with Connor Barron. You maybe put Raskin in there, sitting maybe as a 6. You'd maybe have Diamandi in there. See Raskin. See last year when Bill brought him in at the beginning, he sort of brought him in at January, wasn't it? And for that half a season, you're thinking, oh, that looks tasty going forward. But under Beale, in his first full season, the guy couldn't pass the ball 3 yards. A liability. So you're looking at it. I think there's guys that are leaving at the end of the season because their contracts are up, right? There's other guys there that are never going to play for a club the size of Rangers, are never going to get the wages they're getting at Rangers, and they're going to be very hard to move on. And I think this is a 3-year project to get a squad together that's of the appropriate quality to do anything. And that's how I see it. We need a centre half. We need a 6. And we need somebody a forward. We need a backbone to that team. I think there's so many issues there. It's frightening. I really, really do. It's just how I see it.
Aye, interesting. Listen, Fox has put up a wee diagram of a formation that we could try. We'll throw this out to you, Bridgeman. You can get a reaction on this. So we've got Butland in goals. Surprised he's not picked Kelly, but we've got Balogun, Cashin Werno and Suter. He's set up, looks like a 3-4-3 maybe. Yefty at left, Tav out wide right, Diamandi and Barn in the middle with Bajrami in the front of them, and he's got Dessers and Iganami up front. Bold. Your thoughts, Bridge?
Sounds actually interesting. It's getting close to my favourite statuses on the pitch. 3-5-2. That's my favourite. Just 3 at the back. They've got to be really good players, but they've got to be able to play football, understand what they're doing, what themselves are doing, and the rest of the team. But 3-5, that's what it sounded like. And 2 at the top. I think, in all honesty, it's the only way you can go nowadays. You've got to have 2 up front. You've got to have 2 through the middle. They've got to be able to feed off each other. Most teams that are really, really successful, you'll see them with more than one person. They don't have a singular target man. They may have somebody just falling off them, but invariably it's like a 3-5-2. So 2 up front. Midfield is absolutely crucial. 5 in the middle is, to me, the best way forward. That's the way I see it anyway. So well done, Foxy. That's what it sounded like to me. 3-5-2. But obviously, Foxy's a wee bit craftier than that, you know. And it's Foxy, so obviously.
Last time I saw that formation, sorry.
No, sister, we just got to say Fox is as sly as a fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Carry on, Smurf, and then
The
Rob.
last time I saw that formation, it was Neil Lennon at Hibs, and he got a Dan Mack, didn't he?
We're best to keep that man's name off of here, Smurf. Come on, that's a yellow. Rob, what do you make of Fox's line up there?
I mean, the way it's set up, it sounds like a back five, back three, whatever way you look at it. Tav, we're saying he's not got the legs as a fullback, so I don't know how he would cope with being a wing back as such. It's more power, more running. He's lost a yard, if not more. That's a lot to ask of the guy who were sitting slating for losing pace and not tracking back defensively. If he gets up for the park, you've got Suter there who makes shifts over, and Yefty comes back, makes it a 4. But if they both go, the Yefty and Tav, it's a back 3. It's a 3 that's not played together, or a back 3 that's not been a pairing. If you take them all individually, as Balogun, Casemiro, Suter. Obviously, Suter and Balogun have played together, but if you're playing them in separate sides, creates a bit of an issue. But I think certainly 2 strikers might be the way forward, if I'm being honest. AK, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you had Boyd, Miller, Yelovich, Lafferty, 2 strikers. They worked off each other. When was the last time? I can't think of one. The last time we had a lone striker who'd done the job themselves and was successful enough, who banged all the goals in.
Kenny Miller, that comes to mind, but we've known many since, that's for sure. But on you go, Rob. You got to come back here.
No, I was just saying that obviously word identity's been mentioned quite a few times in it, mate, and that we've spoken about identity on the park, off the park, identity in terms of formation. Manager's a big talking point. We've had an umpteen foreign managers since the late great Walter Smith. Is identity time to go back to Scottish or British football? Gerrard came in, understood the Scottish game, he got the passion. We saw the fight from him, we saw the fight from the players. Do we look back to Scotland, or at least UK, British managers?
Interesting. I certainly think players-wise, we should be looking more at the Scottish League, Smurf. I think overlooking the likes of Lewis Ferguson, Lawrence Shankland, it's coming back to bite us a bit when we're forking out millions for, our Dessers and Danilo and Cifuentes, and we could have been getting the guys and filling us in and getting a good 3-4 year out of them. But that's up for debate. But I would have liked the guys in our team, and I call for them. That's not just knee-jerk reaction. I call for the guys to be included in our team a few years ago, and I believe that actually Ian McCall, who was Partick Thistle manager at the time, offered Shankland to Gerrard at that time, and for some reason that the deal didn't happen.
Well, what can you say about it? There's you've got guys like the boy Ferguson. Maybe he's wanted to go abroad. Look at how we judge SEMA, judge the club regarding SEMA. It transpires. It was not today with the club. He'd done everything they could. The boy didn't want to come. He wanted more money. All came down to money. Aberdeen's got to want to sell him to us. There's so much involved, and there's guys like Bridge would never want to see us pay a transfer fee. So there's a lot going in it, but it's not a Scottish identity or a British identity I want. It's a Rangers identity. Fans. Lewis Ferguson's a classic example. Rangers fans who are good enough or better than we've got, that's a step in the right direction. I looked at that, we've got proper there, and I looked at that boy Lewis Mayo, and I'm thinking, well, you're no any better than that boy Lewis Mayo. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Aye. I know.
Sure.
We're kind of clutching at straws, but I think we're on agreement on that one. But just briefly, before we get to our final thoughts, I wanted to touch on something. the Kilmarnock game, the post-match interview, Liam Balogun came out and said a few honest words, I would say. But what I would ask the question, why was our captain not out there? Because I watched a podcast with Richard Goff a couple of years ago. Every defeat, Walter sent him out to the cameras to face the music because he was the leader of the team, the leader of the dressing room. That doesn't reflect well on me for Tavernier being captain there. Bridgman, Rob, and then Smurf, and your final thoughts, Smurf, as well.
Well, sorry, you want me to speak now? I thought you said Bridgman, okay.
Briefly,
Well, I was going to say, as far as the Tavernier thing is concerned, I think we'll basically at the forum here, it's been well discussed that, but to send out someone other than the captain, cowardly. I don't know whether they would even think about practicing that anywhere else. A nice speaker, by the way, good speaker, and he's got well respected for what his manners and what he says and things like that. But I don't understand why the captain's not there. There's something. I mean, that's an absolutely dreadful result for us. An absolutely horrendous result, and the captain's not there. Shocking. That's in my opinion, shocking.
Yep. Rob, briefly.
Are we really surprised that Tav never came out after a defeat or a performance like that, mate? No, I'm not. Tav will get the finger pointed of where is he, but I suppose you could also look at where's your vice captain, where's your leadership group. Nowhere to be seen. You're asking a guy who's come on the game, half an hour he played. He came out and summed it up the way we all think and we want to say. He basically spoke for his supporters, and it's not the first time that Liam Balogun's done that.
Aye. And Smurf, and gives your final thoughts for this evening. Thanks for joining us.
Well, it's not how a cap conducts himself of any club, let alone Glasgow Rangers. Never really thought he was a strong captain or really a strong leader. And I think he's run his race. My final thoughts are that whatever happens, the club needs us. It's our club, and we've got to get behind them. There's no executive in place really, and the last thing we need is to be losing our manager. Get behind the team, get behind the manager, and as long as we do our bit, if it gets that bad that we do vote with our feet, it's not because of we've created a circumstance. It's down to the executive. So get behind them if you can afford it, get to the games, and onwards and upwards. Good night, everybody.
Excellent. Thanks for your call there, Smurf. Rob, your brief thoughts for this evening, and thanks for your contributions.
Cheers for having me, mate. Been good to be on with yourself and Bridge. Good few callers tonight and good points. Only way is up. That's all we can look at it. Only way is up, and hopefully come Thursday night, the fans will be there. We'll cheer on. We might be frustrated and annoyed, but we'll cheer them on. But please, squad, team, give us something back. Cheers for having me, AK. Good show, mate. Well done.
Excellent, Rob. Bridgeman.
What can I say to you, AK? Fantastic. Really enjoyed tonight. Great discussions. A bit sad in some instances because people like myself are feeling a bad way about our club. However, I really enjoyed tonight. I really enjoyed the discussions. Biggest game of the season coming up Thursday night. Massive. The team have got to turn that around and show what they can actually do. And a wee repeat of the Malmo performance will go down really, really well. Out there, do it, get a win. And everybody, keep it going for the Rangers. No matter where you are, keep it going for the Rangers.
Excellent. You're right there, Bridgeman. Can I just thank our callers for this evening? Cal for phoning up, and yeah, I'll send that message on to Si for you. Smurf there, joining us, great contributions as usual. Jordan was an excellent call too, but unfortunately had a wee bit of technical problems, but thanks for your call. Rob, Bridgeman, and the guys in the techie. Without them there wouldn't be a show, so thanks very much, Fox and Old School Blue. So that's a good show tonight. the hard hat managed to survive, but we'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking all things Rangers with the Dream Team. Take it away, old school boy.